Hi, my name is Paul Schursch, and welcome to my shop. Hi, my name is Paul Schursch, and welcome to my shop. This class is called Marquetry 101 and is the third class in the series of online hand-skill learning programs. This particular marquetry class is suitable for people of all ages and all skill levels. We'll be making a small marquetry pattern which is somewhat of a traditional flower motif. It can be used to decorate a jewelry box like this one that we made in the first class of this series, or it could be inlaid into a woodworking project like a solid wood table or even a chair back. This class is a simplified version of the marquetry process and should be fun and easy to do. Tools and supplies that you'll need. Well, first you'll need a scroll saw that can hold a 2/0 or a 2/0 blade. And if you've purchased the optional marquetry kit from us, containing veneer, 2 sheets of maple, poplar, that would be some walnut burl, cherry, at least a couple of cherries, and gray board, which I call paper chipboard or gray board, 2 sheets of that, some gum tape, bushing canvas, glue-up bag, and for the tools we have scroll saw blades, there'll be 12 of them in here, and pin nails, and a pair of very sharp V-tong tweezers for assembling the marquetry pattern. You'll need a couple of additional tools. A camping stove with a frying pan and washed silica sand, not beach sand, but silica sand, and some clamps, glue, and platens, and some other items that you possibly may need would be found at a hardware store. Marquetry can come from a variety of sources, at least the drawings can. You can download them online, which is a process of selecting a picture. They can come from coloring books. This is botanical resources of maybe a picture book. Scroll saw techniques and magazines occasionally have patterns which one can use. Or you can even go straight to larger books like this marquetry book by Pierre Ramond that has beautiful examples of marquetry that has been done in the past. Either way, the cartoons are readily accessible, but how do you translate that into a pattern which you can use? So here I have a downloaded cartoon or a picture of a marquetry pattern, and I've made with this clear acetate, I can put this acetate over a drawing and sketch it with this Sharpie pen. You know, certainly you can go from scratch, which would be doing a rough sketch and a process of refining it, but this kind of leapfrogs over that process. Once I have a basic drawing that's done, and this drawing was taken here and enlarged in a photocopy machine. A photocopy machine for me is one of the most valuable drafting tools I have. I can enlarge and reduce and be able to get things to fit into a certain size so they look proportionally correct. For this one, I wanted to design a small oval panel that we could easily do, and this is sort of where I came to. The oval I downloaded from online, just on Google Images. I'm able to get an oval, correctly proportioned, be able to enlarge it and reduce it, so I can actually take it underneath my drawing and see if it might be the right size. Here, when I get to the final stage of refining, I have the pattern is a little bit larger than my original intended size. It makes it easier to draw on it. It makes it easier to write on it and to see some detail. Here I'm finishing numbering all the pieces. This is like 8. I think there's a number 9 here, and this is all done sequentially, so I'm able to number it. If I make a mistake on this drawing, I can always take a little bit of alcohol and a Q-tip, and I can erase drawings, or I can erase lines to correct myself. So with this cartoon drawing, there's a few elements in here that I look for. Once I have this pattern done, any piece which is smaller than a 1/4 inch by a 1/4 inch will be very tough to handle. So I want to make sure that all the pieces are grouped together in larger segments that are larger than that. Another thing, sand shading. Well, sand shading provides depth and realism to any marquetry image. And the way that I show that is determine where my sun is coming from or where my light source, and everything which is underneath gets a series of dots. When this piece comes out of the packet, I'll take it over to sand shading, which is hot sand, and I'll actually scorch the veneer to make it dark or to give this illusion of shadow. So the three rules are, anything that's below gets sand shaded, such as this leaf right here. This leaf right here is underneath, and it's also tucked underneath this petal of a flower, so that would get a series of dots or sand shading. Also with the, here this is behind, and that would be the second rule, is any image that's behind another image gets that series of dots or that sand shaded. And the third rule is if there's two veneers which are the same color, such as this rose, you'll have to sand shade one's edge or the other, but usually never both. So with those three rules, I've been able to make my dots in the drawing and then finally reduce it down to the actual size that I need, and then print out 3 photocopies. The 3 photocopies are used for, one is for the cutting cartoon, and this is the actual pattern that we'll cut out on. One as a reassembly to kind of establish where the pieces go, and the third one is to archive or put away since you might need it for some reason later. So all told, if you can see, here's the acetate. This is what we're going to be producing, this piece here. And now I would say it's time to select our veneers. There's a huge variety of veneers which are out there, which are available to us. Over 125 species can be obtained, small pieces or large flitches of veneer from a variety of businesses and distributors throughout the United States and Canada. There's certainly wood, B&B Rare Woods, and there's so many different places to get it that you should not have a problem finding the veneer that you need. If you have gotten the optional kit, this has come with some veneer that I would like to kind of go through and take a look at. I first have some Walnut Burl. This is rotary cut off of a Walnut Burl log, and it's very beautiful and interesting. There's also maple. The two parts here are 2 pieces of maple, poplar, cherry, and another piece of walnut. Now, when I start assembling a pattern or selecting veneers for any kind of a pattern, such as the one we're going to build, I'm looking for contrast, light versus dark, not necessarily color. I want to have an image which will pop, or if I have a dark background, I'd have a light image, or a light background and have a dark image. Also within the image, I want to have colors which contrast with each other to make it visually interesting. Here would be an example of this cherry and this piece of elm that has a very similar color contrast, very little color contrast. Even though the grain is quite different, I would be hesitant to use these 2 veneers right next to each other. So in selecting veneers for this image, I'm going to start with saying, okay, this walnut looks really good as a background, and I can orient this in any way for this particular image. The maple itself, I have 2 different grain directions, and I would put these in where this central rose is. This is a focal point. It's a very light, it's a very brilliant contrast, and I'm putting 2 sheets in because I can select which grain matching works best when I start assembling. So we'll cut out actually all this at the same time, and we'll be able to select. For the leaves, I have this poplar, and this can be used for the leaves, and then you see I have a leaf going this direction and this direction, so I will be putting 2 layers of poplar in here and to select the right one out for the appropriate leaf. The cherry is for these 4-way blossoms here, or these 4-petaled blossoms. I can also put veneer in going both directions in here, and then select out the one that has the best grain match. One additional element is these buds. Now these buds can be another veneer, yellow veneer or some other contrasting veneer that needs to contrast with this cherry, Or we can use a different colored wood, or I can actually just use the leftover of this maple. Since this maple is not going to be, it's going to be separated from this image, the maple will contrast nicely with the cherry, which is the petal surround. So now that the veneer has been selected, I think that's going to be it for now, and we'll see you next time in segment 2, where we get to assemble the packet and start cutting with a scroll saw. Bye for now.